Hi guys, we will discuss an interest-bearing note lump sum. So let's have a sample problem. On July 1, 20X1, ABC Corporation sold land with a cost of 2,500,000 pesos in exchange for a note receivable of 3 million pesos, 12% note due on July 1, 20X4. Interest is due annually starting July 1, 20X2. So what kind of note is this? This is an interest-bearing note. Why is this an interest-bearing note? Because the note has a stated rate. Paano nyo malalaman kung ang isang note meron siyang stated rate? Ganito siya. So in this problem, note receivable of 3 million pesos, 12% note. So since kasama siya sa 3 million pesos note, we will assume that the 12% is the stated rate. 12% is the stated rate kasi i-assume natin na ang 12%, ito yung rate na stated sa note. The rate stated in the note is 12%. Okay? And then after that, what do we assume? If the problem is silent, we will assume that we will be using the simple interest. So pag silent ang problem, i-assume natin na simple interest ang gagamitin natin sa ganitong mga problems. Especially if the note is interest-bearing. So we will be using the simple interest. And then, when is the collection of the principal? The collection of the principal is lump sum because the note will be due on July 1, 20X4. Therefore, the collection of the principal is lump sum. Makokolekta natin ang 3 million pesos sa July 1, 20X4. So what are the journal entries here? So first is debit notes receivable, 3 million pesos. Credit land, 2,500,000 pesos. And credit gain on sale of land, 500,000 pesos. Why is this a gain? Because the cost of land that you sold is 2,500,000 pesos and the consideration that you receive from the sale of land is 3 million pesos. So because the consideration that you receive is higher than the cost of land that you sold, this is a gain of sale worth 500,000 pesos. And then, on December 31, 20X1, we need to record an adjusting entry. Kailangan natin mag-record ng adjusting entry sa December 31, 20X1. This is to recognize the interest that we earned from July 1, 20X1 to December 31, 20X1. So because of this, we need to record an adjusting entry. So how many months yan? From July 1 to December 31, 20X1. So how many months is it? Diba? 6 months. So because of that, we need to record an adjusting entry. So what we will do is 3 million pesos times 12% times 6/12 equals to 180,000 pesos. Therefore, our adjusting entry here is debit interest receivable 180,000. Credit interest income, 180,000 pesos. So the question is, bakit magre-record tayo ng interest receivable? Kasi, kailan natin matatanggap ang interest? Or when is the first collection of interest? It will happen on July 1, 20x2. Therefore, as of December 31, meron tayong receivable worth 180,000 pesos. And then, for July 1, 20x2, what will be our journal entry? For July 1, 20x2, we will debit cash 360,000 pesos, credit interest receivable 180,000 pesos, and interest income 180,000 pesos. Bakit nag-debit tayo ng 360,000 pesos? Kasi ito yung matatanggap nating interest for the whole year. So that's why we will debit cash 360,000 pesos. And then for the credit side naman, we will credit interest receivable 180,000 pesos. It means that by July 1, 20x2, wala na tayong receivable with regards to interest kasi natanggap na natin yung 360,000 pesos. So that's why we will credit interest receivable 180,000 pesos. And finally, bakit nag-credit tayo ng interest income worth 180,000 pesos? This is because we need to recognize the income from January 1 to July 1, 20x2. So because of this, kailangan natin i-recognize yung income from January 1 to July 1, 20x2. We need to recognize interest income. Kasi from January 1 to July 1, 20x2, 6 months. So that's why 3 million times 12% times 6/12, we need to credit interest income 180,000 pesos. And then, for December 31, 20x2, the same thing lang. Kailangan natin mag-record ng adjusting entry to record the interest income from July 1, 20x2 to December 31, 20x2. That's why, the same lang, debit interest receivable, 180,000 pesos, credit interest income, 180,000 pesos. And for 20x3, for July 1, 20x3, the same journal entry. Kasi natanggap natin ang second interest collection. So we were able to receive or we were able to collect the second interest collection. Because of that, we will debit cash 360,000 pesos, credit interest receivable 180,000 pesos, and interest income 180,000 pesos. Bakit tayo magre-recognize ng interest income? Because we need to recognize the interest income from January 1 to July 1, 20x3. So because of that, we need to record interest income of 180,000 pesos. And then, for December 31, 20x3, the same adjusting entry. So for December 31, 20x3, we will debit interest receivable 180,000 and credit interest income 180,000 pesos. And then for July 1, 20x4, there will be 2 journal entries. So number 1 is the collection of the interest. So that's why the same journal entry lang. Debit cash, 360,000. Credit interest receivable, 180,000. And credit interest income, 180,000 pesos. So as you can observe, pag simple interest, the same journal entries lang. The same journal entries lang pag simple interest and interest-bearing note. And finally, sa July 1, 2024, we will collect the principal. Makokolekta na natin ang principal worth 3 million pesos. Because of that, we will debit cash 3 million pesos, credit note receivable 3 million pesos. So what can we observe? Pag interest-bearing ang note, very straightforward and very procedural. Especially pag simple interest ang ginagamit. Kasi, how can we compute for interest? Pag simple interest ang assumption. Principal times rate times time. So, very straightforward. Pag simple interest lang ang computation and the note is interest-bearing. So, that's it for our discussion for today. I hope that you learned something and thank you so much for listening.